so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is Magical Monday here in the studio as I record. How you doing out there in whatever land you're in, whenever you are? Hope you are feeling just fine and living your best life. I'm doing really well myself. I want to talk a little bit today about conflict and, how it relates to, us and, friendships. They say, like, as Ram Dass famously said, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. It's like those that are closest to us can often create the most conflict in us. Or, we have the big blowout with the best friend, or the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the husband, the wife, the kids, the parents, on and on it goes. And, a lot of times with friendships, and I've talked about my own challenge, hero's journey tale with a friendship and business partnership many times on the show, that it's went through all kinds of ups and downs and has been redeemed, and is in a great positive place now. But, what I've seen over the years observing how these things go, I actually saw a quote from Jeff Brown, author, the other day that really jumped out and struck a chord. So I thought, you know what, let's talk about this subject. It's something that we all deal with at different times and in different ways. And what do the conflicts mean, and how do we navigate them most gracefully? And of course, we all know that it's happening for us, not to us. It doesn't mean, sometimes conflicts are really extreme. Someone's abusive. It doesn't mean subject yourself to someone if, I'm going to turn the other cheek and show what a big person I am. A lot of times it is, we do need to walk away and stay away. But it doesn't mean we can't forgive those people for ourselves, most of all. So this particular quote that inspired me to bring this subject up today talks about that very thing. Do we walk away? How do we deal with conflict, as they pertain to friendship? So, I'll go ahead and just read it, and I'm going to talk more. Jeff said, as friendships grow closer, conflict becomes more difficult to avoid. And this is often a good thing, because the closer we get to each other's hearts, the more triggers rise into view. Because you can't fully know someone until you ignite each other's fire. Because you won't know if a connection has legs until it has been tested by conflict. And when it is, there's a choice to be made. Walk away in disgust, or walk toward it in an effort to deepen the connection. Conflict isn't the adversary of connection. Fear of confrontation is. yeah, this one really, like I said, it strikes a chord with a connection that's no longer in my life. It strikes a chord with a connection, old business partner and friend that is now in my life and wasn't for 6 years after a big conflict. And, how often do we see people, because they're afraid of confrontation, they're scared to have the tough talk. A lot of times people would just ghost, like rather than confrontation is like such the greatest fear for so many people. And it's something that me and my partner Karen talk about a lot. We tend to, running the Mystic Manor and lots of, personalities coming in and out. And oftentimes we'll laugh like, oh, we're supposed to have the talk with this person that no one else will. It's that person who, they've had this challenge arise again and again and again. And a lot of times, rather than actually have the tough talk, people will probably just cut them out of their life. So it's something, that I think is really important for us to take a look at. Like I said earlier, it doesn't mean there's not a time to walk away from a conflict. Like I said, I'll use the example of someone being physically or verbally abusive and they're just not really trying to, correct that in any way, shape, or form. They're completely lost in their own pain, which is really what that is, right? Lashing out in the case where it's coming in your direction. Like, okay, yeah, there's self-love and self-preservation. Totally. And there's so many of these instances where it's just like that fear of confrontation, fear of having the tough talk. And, it says a lot about someone when they love and care about you enough, or you love and care about another person enough where you're even, instead of like, oh, it's much easier to just ghost this person, sever the connection and move on to really go and deepen the connection like he's talking about here. Conflict isn't the problem with connection. The fear of confrontation is. And so are you stepping up and being willing to have that hard talk? And, as my partner Karen often says, there's always a graceful, tactful, kind way to deliver the tough, message that you have to deliver. And if you can go into it, one thing that I've done a lot of in these sorts of conflict situations is allow my emotions to get the better of me. And then I'm so emotionally charged and the, delivery mechanism just completely blows out the powerful message. So I found through a lot of trial and error and, slow learning, how do I de-escalate my own agitation, vibration? There's a conflict because there's a disagreement where, you're seeing something different than someone else. Don't then equate that to, okay, I need to now allow this person seeing it and behaving in the way they are to cause me to be, out of alignment, not at peace, right? It's like, think about it. You're letting someone else choose and influence your inner peace based off their own, maybe ignorance, maybe their own shadow, whatever it is, their quote unquote wrongdoing. It's allowed to disrupt your peace. And so I think that's a really important thing. Man, I've done so much of allowing other people's behavior to disrupt my peace and then righteously telling them and showing them where they're wrong. And it doesn't really, it's not really that effective because now you've created defensiveness. And so it's super, super important to get your energy straight, be willing to walk when it's appropriate to, hey, I care enough about deepening this connection. I care enough about you as a person, as a friend, as, whatever the relationship is, to actually have the tough talk. And I'm not going to allow conflict to or fear of having a tough talk, going through a tough moment, get in the way of deepening a connection. And I think that is, I definitely see so much of people allowing their fear to get in the way. And we're better than that. And it's time for us to be better than that and to be the example. Every time I see it time and time again. Once again, I'll use this example because it's such a prevalent one in my own life here at the Mystic Manor, where there's conflict arrives or something, and seeing, I've got to witness my partner over the years, how gracefully she can navigate, these tough situations. And then people are like, wow, I need to take lessons on how to, communicate so effectively and so kindly and so calmly without allowing, her energy to get out of balance, which then disrupts the whole thing. So it's a real practice and a really important one. And I think more of us need to step into that, that willingness to have, instead of walking away in disgust and writing them off and, avoiding, connection. Ultimately, really, you're severing connection. And a lot of times it's darkest before the dawn, right? How many times have we thrown someone away that really it was just their blind spot, right? And I think that really helps if you can realize, look, we all have blind spots. We all have, and those blind spots can appear really ugly to someone else. And, it's their blind spot, and you have your own blind spots. And by the way, if it's triggering you, it's probably somehow very closely related to your own blind spot. And you start realizing that, oh, hold on, why is this so triggering for me? What is it? Oftentimes it's something we really don't like in ourselves that we're seeing in someone else, right? It's so much mirror business going on around here. And I think that really helps me too, whenever I find myself, oh, hold on, why am I so triggered by this? What is it about this person? What is it about this situation? How does this somehow reflect some part of myself? And that really helps, I've found. Yeah. So love this quote. And I, as I was, thinking about and considering this topic for today, I thought, I'm sure Abraham has something powerful out here, in the many clips on YouTube talking about conflict and how to deal with it, how to get it to work for us. And I found a clip called "How to Let Conflict Work for You" on the Voice of Change YouTube page. Really, really powerful talk. I mean, at the end of it, she's like, "This is one of the best talks ever on law of attraction." And so I'm going to play that clip at this time, and then I'll be back. Take a listen.
I've been waiting 26 years for this moment. Today's my birthday.
Every day's your birthday.
Every day is my birthday.
Because every day, Source is flowing abundance every day.
Most definitely.
But we're out of time.
Yes. Oh, well, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And the other gentleman, you really answered just about
So
everything.
this is just greediness.
This is, yeah.
We recommend
This
it.
is
we
receiving all that the universe has for
Yeah.
me. Yeah. And I was first introduced to you in 1991, and I was told that I was dying or that I was going to die, but obviously that didn't happen because I'm here talking to you now. So, and I was given a cassette, so I'm really dating myself how far back that was. So we've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit of piggybacking on what you were talking about. I just wanted you to speak a little bit more about contrast, because things are going really, really well for me.
Let's give it a new word, just for fun. Remember it always.
Just for fun.
Clarifying trust.
Clarifying trust.
Or you could call it clarifying crap. But contrast, clarification. Clarification is what contrast is. It's just
And the right relationship to have with contrast.
adoration, appreciation. It's necessary to step one. It's essential to step one. And without the question, there cannot be an answer. Without contrast, there cannot be asking for more. Contrast puts the eternalness in eternity. It matters so much. It matters so much that you said, me, I want to go into the contrast, into the leading edge contrast, because I want to be a viable, integral part of taking thought beyond where it has ever been before. Contrast is such a good thing. Not just good, necessary. Not just good, essential. It's like when you go to a buffet and there's that variety. And even though there are things that you don't want to eat, you don't say to them, throw all of that away. I don't want it there. Well, just don't put it on your plate. Well, it might get on my plate by accident. I might not be watching what I'm doing, and I might get it on my plate. Well, pay attention to what you're doing. Don't put stuff on your plate that you don't want. And if you get something in your mouth and it doesn't taste good, don't do it again.
Would Abraham speak to, well, when I arrived here on the planet, all the big people that were already here that were taking care of all of my needs and housing and making sure I was fed, if I cried, if I were hungry, said that it's unrealistic for you to expect to not have a little rain with sunshine. And all of our songs and lyrics and everything speaks to this phenomenon of where it's almost delusional to think that things can always be good and then be more good and then be more good.
Let's put this into a very clear perspective. Of course, we've established that contrast exists. But from contrast, there will be a vibrational bounce that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Because out of knowing what you don't want, you know what you do want. And when you focus upon what you do want, you get more of that. And so when someone says that rain is necessary, we want to clarify that within all of it, you don't have options about what the conditions around you may be, but you have options about what practiced vibrational stance you have coming into it. Once you've shown yourself what meditation is and what alignment is and what clear guidance is, then you almost embrace contrast. We watch you. We watch the most evolved physical specimens of your species play themselves against the others in order to prove prowess, maybe, to win tournaments, maybe, but mostly it's this innate, natural understanding that when you experience that sort of contrast, a stronger desire is born, and that stronger desire summons more source energy resolve, which leads to not only more satisfaction, but to more. If you can start with the understanding that the dominant mantra or premise of all that isness, we're talking about from the inner being part of you that made the decision to come into this physical experience again, that your strongest awareness is, your strongest request is for more. More life, more fun, more being, more experience, more love, more existence, more opportunity, more being, more, not less, not cease to be, continue to be. Ask yourselves, is eternity what your quest is, or ending of all things your quest? That's not a hard thing for anyone to answer. The moreness is what is so innate within you, and necessary to moreness is variety that causes you to choose something uniquely more. You didn't come to regurgitate what is. You came to ask for more than what is. Because until you can fashion its vibrational existence out of what now exists, it cannot become then a physical reality. So the environment that exists that you perceive with your physical senses is what inspires you to a quest for more. When someone's rude, you want them to be nicer. When someone's threatening, you want them to stop. Everything causes a desire to be born within you. And as this mass consciousness of billions of people, and it's not just the people, there's all manner of life on this planet that are sending out these requests. These requests are answered, each and every one. And you are thriving as a result of all of that. But there is more human suffering while this system is working perfectly than is necessary. And that's why your quest for happiness, you're asking for happiness, someone like us who clarifies how the process works, because you would not have to know any of this. You don't have to know about law of attraction for it to have its way with you any more than you need to know about gravity, or if you don't know, you'll just fly up everywhere. Why is that person floating around? Oh, he doesn't know about gravity yet. Well, that's not how it works. Gravity responds to him too. And law of attraction responds to everyone too. So you don't need to know about this stuff. It's showing itself to you. The laws of the universe are demonstrating themselves to you all day, every day. So you don't need to know this in order for contrast to cause you to want something more. So you build a vortex without even knowing that you are. There's a vibrational reality that you've been building from the beginning of your existence, and you don't need to know about it for you to build it. And your inner being is responding to it, and your inner being has been there shining the bright light of what you've asked for. You didn't even need to know that that was there, because your happy heart led you there again and again and again and again and again. It's the perfect setup. Your natural innate quest for feeling good will lead you to the expansion that the contrast has provided. It just doesn't get any better than that. You don't need to know about any of that if your happy heart is what's leading you. But so many of you have given up being led by your happy heart. You want to motivate yourself. There have been other things that have taken a stronger thing. No problem. All that did is make you ask for happiness more. There's nothing that makes you renew your quest for happiness more than unhappiness. And so this can't go wrong. Whether you are in this room and hearing these words and understanding the laws of the universe and the way it all works and the way you hook up with you and what your emotional guidance system is, you don't need to know any of this to succeed magnificently. There's just one little thing. Most humans are not that happy along the way. So you have contrast and you launch rockets, and the next generation benefits from what you put in the vortex, because they come in and they don't have beliefs that fight it. But wouldn't you like the generation that gave birth to it to be the one that receives the benefit of it? Wouldn't you like to be the see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it beneficiary of your own hopes and dreams? Wouldn't you like to create your own reality deliberately? Well, that's what you said, and that's why we came.
This is not a question, but it's just, this is life-changing for me, what you just said, on a level of DNA, because it helps me to have a relationship with what we call problems as opportunities for clarity.
Delicious.
It changes everything when I'm in the moment.
There is no problem that is not life-giving. Because every problem summons a solution, and the solution is that life coming, you see. Yeah, bring it on, bring them on, bring them on.
And that was my intention,
Bring them on.
and you gave
that
my
makes
intention.
step 5 much more easier to understand, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll stay in step 5. I'll focus on the problem, but I will be one who becomes solution-oriented faster. Your world is in a place today where so much is right before you for you to contemplate, but so much of the world stays hammering at the problems and pushing against one another when there's all this juicy stuff that you just most recently put into the vortex. Life is extra, 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 extra ripe and ready for the plucking for those who are in the receiving mode and ready.
And I stayed there a lot, and it's getting shorter and shorter, the time that I'm in that negative emotion. It's there, and then I'm able to remember that
Negative
in the
emotion
moment.
is such a blessed, wonderful thing, because negative emotion is pointing out to me how wise my inner being is, how much my inner being loves me, how much work has been done on the solution that I'm not focused upon. You can't feel negative emotion without its counterpart being right there ready for you. Every subject is 2 subjects, wanted and absence of it. And you can be focused all up and down that stick, and you can feel how close you are or how far away you are for what you're asking for. There is no exclusion in this universe of attraction. There's no pushing anything away. There's only attraction, 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 inclusion, inclusion, inclusion. So when a problem comes into your view, and you want to push it away, since there is no such thing as pushing away, since there's only inclusion, doesn't it sort of kind of make you want to go to the other end of the stick that you want to include, rather than stay on the problem end of the stick that you don't want to include? Did you hear that? Humans must believe that there is law of pushing away, that there's law of exclusion, because they'll stay fixated on the problem. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. Everybody's talking about this. We're doing blogs about this. The news is talking about this. Everybody's talking about this. We're talking about this, and we're going to talk about this till it goes away. No, you're not. You're going to talk about this until you create solutions that you don't have access to. So if it's only law of attraction, and it is, when you see something you want and you give your attention to it, you include it in your experience. When you see something you don't want and you shout no at it, you include it in your experience. So when you are focused on a problem, do you want to focus on the problem? Because there's only inclusion. You say, yeah, I'll focus on the problem and I'll get rid of it. No, that's not an option. You can't get rid of it. You can only include it. So if you can only include it, do you want to focus on the problem? Yeah, because I want to get rid of it. No, there's no getting rid of it. There's only inclusion. So do you want to focus on the problem? Yeah, because I really want to get rid of it. No, there's no getting rid of it. There's a problem and there's a solution, and it's only inclusion. So there's a problem. Do you want to focus on the problem? No, I want to try to focus on the solution and include that in my vibration. Do you hear it? That's the best conversation about law of attraction that has ever been, ever. Yeah. Really good. That got right to it, didn't it?
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Talkspace. As a listener of this podcast, you know it's important to prioritize your mental health and wellness, because when you work on yourself, you'll start to see and feel positive changes in all areas of your life. When it comes to getting help via therapy, Talkspace makes it super convenient to get affordable mental health care from the comfort of your home that's in network for most insurers. Your therapist can help you set and achieve your goals, and you don't need to wait until something goes wrong in your life to work with someone. Talkspace is there to help with any specific challenges you might be facing. It's the #1 online therapy platform with thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, relationships, and more. And as a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/positive. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/positive to get $100 off your first month. That's Talkspace.com/positive. Clarification is what contrast is, right? It's clarifying contrast, she said. And I love how she said, what is your relationship with it? Well, start having adoration for it. It is step 1 and essential to you getting more of what you want. Contrast, I love how she also says, puts the eternalness into eternity. You're constantly experiencing contrast. And a lot of times that contrast is like, it's like a rub, It's like Rumi said, if you're annoyed by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? Or how will your mirror be polished if you're annoyed by every rub? Something like that. And so think of it in that terms. It's like you're getting rubs, you're getting contrast, and that's what makes eternity move, right? It's like it allows new desires to come up and more requests. Your strongest request, she said, is for more. And, when you're not wanting something, it helps you to understand what you do want. And so essentially that unhappiness with that desire for change, it's motivating. There is no problem that is not life-giving. It's motivating you. It's summoning. There are no problems, only solutions. There's always a solution on the other side of it, right? Every problem it implies the solution. It summons the solution. So become solution-oriented faster, always looking at that piece of the puzzle. How refreshing is that? Think about it, right? I can think right now about a stressful situation in my life, and then I instantly think, hold on, the solution's right there waiting to be. It wants to be discovered. It's inviting. The problem actually exists so the solution can be found. It's a game of hide and seek with your higher self that you're playing. And that instantly brings like excitement and relief. So if we become solution oriented faster, we quickly look to, there's a challenge. Quickly turn our gaze to the solution piece of it. We don't have to linger in the problem pool nearly as long as we do. You just need it for a moment, just for a moment of contrast, just the awareness. That's all you need. You don't need to live in it. I really love how at the end she's like, do you want to focus on the problem to get rid of it? You can't get rid of it. You can only include it, right? That's like dealing with your shadow. It's like it's a part of your being, right? Include and integrate and transform. The problem is part of the solution. You can't get rid of it, only include it. Include the solution in my vibration. It allows a solution to exist. There is no black without white. There is no white without black. You need the contrast in order for anything to exist. There is no love without darkness, without evil. Evil is live spelled backwards, right? It is necessary part of it. So always including whatever's coming up that you don't want. Okay, include the solution into the vibration. Let's throw that into the stew, the soup that we're over here churning, and let's see what that yields. And that's just becoming solution oriented faster. That is the path to gracefully navigating all of this indefinite contrast, eternal, contrast that is inevitably, in front of you, right? You might as well get good at navigating it. And I think you are, or you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. And for that, we should be proud of ourselves. And with that being said, hope this has helped you to clarify. I hope this has given you some clarifying trust today. I do have a song to leave you with. This is The Call of Dawn by Liquid Bloom. It's a Scott Nice remix. It's a good one. Enjoy.